Benvenuto! Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. Today we're going to make macaroni cheese or mac and cheese or whatever you might call it. But anyway, it's another one of those dishes that many of us find or remember being on our Easter and springtime holiday buffets. So I thought we would redo this video. We did have one that I never really liked. Again, that was one of our earliest. I think it was maybe our third or fourth video. I never liked the way it came out. So, and I've kind of adapted this recipe over the last few years to make it even better. So, now, before we get into the ingredients, I just want to talk about the pans I've got, okay? I normally do this in a 9 by 13 inch pan, but I'm gonna freeze one of these for Easter in a few weeks, and I'll go over that, how, show you what steps I do before I put in the freezer, all right? So we'll put these aside. But normally for this recipe, you're gonna use a 9 by 13 inch casserole pan. All right, so now, it's mac and cheese. So the main ingredient, or one of the main ingredients is pasta, all right? So now, this happens to be a small elbow pasta. You want to use a pasta that's hollow, all right? Any pasta that's hollow that you want to use is good, but of course you want your cheese sauce to get into, inside and make it delicious. Now, I'm not going to make this with you guys because we've made pasta plenty of times before, but you want to make sure you follow the directions, okay? And we're going to make this al dente. This is going to go in the oven for a little bit, so it'll continue to cook. Macaroni and cheese, the pasta, it's never really going to stay al dente. Me personally, I love a nice soft noodle for mac and cheese, but it's gonna continue to cook in the oven a little bit, and then if you're anything like our house, there's going to be leftovers. So as you heat it over the next day or two, the noodles are going to get a little bit softer. But don't worry about it. We're going to talk a little bit about this, the pasta, in a little bit. So I'm going to put this off to the side. Now I've got a big pot. As a matter of fact, it just started to boil. Let me turn it down a little bit. I've got a big pot of cooking there. That's a bigger pot than I need to cook 1 pound of pasta. But so that I can save a bowl, I like to have a big pan that I've made the pasta in, so I can mix everything together. All right, you get one less bowl dirty. All right, so the next, of course, big ingredient is your cheese, okay? You can use any cheese you want. This is just kind of what I've developed over the years that I like in it. We like the extra sharp, all right? And this happens to be Cabot cheese. You're going to use 16 ounces of that. I've already shredded up one. And then I like 8 ounces of Monterey. All right, and I'm going to use 8 ounces of sour cream. All right, really, any kind of soft cheese that is going to melt, or hard cheese that's going to melt and be nice and creamy, you can use. So whatever your favorite is, you can use a Montary Jack, like I'm using. You can use what's the cheese with it's got a little bit of jalapeno, or jalapeno Monterey Jack, or whatever, if you want to add a little bit of heat to it. All right, now, we are making a bechamel. This is one way to make a mac and cheese, is to use a bechamel sauce, okay? So I don't think we've ever done that, so this will be kind of a good thing in case anyone hasn't made it. You see how easy it is. And basically bechamel is flour. Oops, I don't have my flour. We need some flour too. You got flour and butter to make a roux, and then you use either whole milk or half and half, full cream, however you like it. All right, so now again, spices, totally up to you. This is what I've developed over the years that Wade and I like. It's garlic powder, onion powder, a little bit of chicken bouillon, seasoned oil, salt, paprika, and I just burped. And I always use a little bit of accent that's optional, but as it says right on the label, wakes up the flavor. Also, if you're not sensitive to MSG and you use the accent, you can use less salt, because accent makes it taste salty but doesn't have any salt in it. So I've got all my spices there. And then, like I said, for our bechamel, we're going to need 3 cups of sauce, butter, and some flour. And then for the topping, now this again is another thing. This is the topping I use on our cheesy potatoes, and we love it. So in this recipe, I use 2 sleeves of this. We're going to crush this up with a half a cup of butter and mix it all together, and it just comes out yummy and delicious. But when I was growing up, my mother would often put potato chips. She'd do with the little tiny square crackers that you're not really crazy about, Wade.
Saltines?
Not saltines. They're small and orange. Cheez-Its. Cheez-Its. For some reason, it's not his favorite Cheez-Its. I mentioned potato chips. She used to do it with Cheez-Its sometimes. You can also do this with, use the same amount. I think, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'd use like maybe a cup of panko breadcrumbs, maybe a little bit more. I'll check it out, put it in the notes in the recipe, and some butter, kind of toast that all up, sprinkle it on the top. It's delicious. Okay, so now as far as the cheese is concerned, guys, cheese is a pain in the neck, especially if you're using it from the block. You know, there's all those things out there. Some people say that if you use the cheese that comes already pre-spread, that they lightly dust it with cornstarch so it doesn't melt as well. There is one brand that I use a lot, which is the mozzarella from, I believe it's from Philadelphia cream cheese. And they do mozzarella, and it's not dusted with anything, and it does melt up really nice. But anyway, that's your preference. I can't say that I've ever really noticed a difference, but because at least, you know, for the most part, macaroni and cheese isn't really expensive, so I go for a little bit more expensive cheese. All right, so now if you don't have a grater or a food processor, use a box grater, but we're just gonna shut up. And now there's no particular reason why I'm using white cheese or light colored cheese. You can use the Sharp Cheddar that's a little bit more orangey. That's certainly up to you. I think I just grabbed this particular one because those were the ones that were in the, you know, the display when I was shopping. We'll shred this one. And a box shredder will work just as well, but you know, one of those, we've seen those. We got the four-sided shredder, a little bit more elbow grease. All right, so once we get going, this goes together in a minute. So I'm going to clean up our mess here, and we'll be back, and we'll get everything cooking. All right, guys, we got everything cleaned up. My pasta is cooked. I just want to talk a little bit about the pasta. Now, I happen to be using the small elbow macaronis. You can use the medium size if you want. You can use shells. Those work nice as well. But what I want to talk about is I've boiled it and I've drained it. Now, the big question, to rinse or not to rinse? You never, ever rinse your pasta. Okay, as far as I'm concerned. Some people say rinse it, you know, because they're afraid that it's going to stick together because of the starch. And it is, because it's starchy. Some people will you know, drain it, put it in a bowl, add a couple of pads of butter to it. Again, if you rinse it, you're rinsing off the starch, which you want the starch there because you want your either pasta sauce, red sauce, or our cheese sauce to stick to the noodles. If you rinse it off, all that beautiful starch is rinsed off the noodles, and your sauce is never going to penetrate whatever you're using the noodles. And then same thing, if you add some butter to it and you get it all coated in butter, well, your cheese sauce is never going to absorb into your noodles. So you do want to be relatively quick with it, though. All right. So I've got everything ready. My pasta is done. My oven's preheated to 350. I've got my 2 pans that I'm going to use, or my 1.9 by 13 that I'm going to use, lightly buttered. Okay. So in our pot, we're going to make our roux. Okay. So, oops, look at that. I forgot something. Wait, will stay here and I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. No measuring cups were hurt. I had to get flour today. Of course, I got it all over the place as I was dumping it in the bag. But anyway, we need a half a cup of all-purpose flour. We don't need a close-up of that. No. So we're going to have, we're going to have a cup of all-purpose flour. All right, so our butter's melted. I'm going to turn my heat up a little bit because I've had it on low. So I'm going to turn my heat, in this case, to medium. Our half of cup of butter goes in. And flour, thank you. Our half a cup of butter was already in there. Now this is a half a cup of flour. All right, so we're making a basic roux, right? And what we want to do is just kind of let that butter and get all absorbed with the flour. You do want to stay around. This is not the time to go watch a TV show. Yeah, it's going to take a minute or so, 30 seconds a minute. And really what you want to do, what we're doing is we're just cooking off the butter flavor. And you will very quickly start to notice it will smell nutty. Okay? Now, the longer you let this cook, the darker your roux is going to be. We're not necessarily looking for a dark roux for mac and cheese. Oh, and by the way, shout out to one of my favorite followers, Todd. This would be a great substitute for your other seasoning, or add some of your Creole seasoning to it. And also, Todd, your Easter menu sounds delicious. Wait, and I'll be down there the day before Easter. I'll even help you cook if you want. But all right, so that's right about where I want it. All right. And I'm going to turn my heat up, and we're going to go in, and you can start this slowly. Some people, before you have made, so this is basically a bechamel sauce. Some people, before they've made it a few times, it can be a little intimidating. It certainly was for me. And really, this thing is you want to keep stirring it. One, we don't want it to burn. And the warmer your milk gets, the more it's going to start to soak up all that flour. I think we can go ahead and add it all. And we want to keep on whisking. So we want to whisk that until it becomes perfectly smooth. And that'll take a few minutes because, like I said, our milk was cold right from the refrigerator. It'll start to thicken up and the lumps will disappear if your milk is a little warmer. So if you left it out a bit for room temperature. But I'm going to go up in the interest of time. So now, a bechamel sauce will call for a little bit of salt and pepper, which we'll put a little bit in. That's to taste. You don't have to put it in. We don't have a lot of salt in this at all. And of course, you can use white pepper if you don't want the pepper flakes to show up. But I'm really using maybe a half a teaspoon of salt and even a little bit less of the pepper. While we're waiting for this, what else can I think of? We got our oven set at 350. This is really basically all done. We're putting it in the oven to get it all nice and bubbly and get our Ritz crackers. Oh, look at that, it's spilled out. How surprising. Of course, if Wade had let me spend the money to do my kitchen all over, I'd have this as a beautiful cooktop here. But he won't let me spend the money. He's mean. Only kidding. Well, he will let me spend the money, but he's not mean. So sometimes when you're sitting here stirring something and waiting for something to cook, there's nothing to keep your mind occupied. I usually have the TV on. And we're really just waiting for this to bubble. As soon as that comes to, see, it's getting there. It's all dissolving. As soon as that comes up to temperature, that is gonna get nice and thick and creamy. Do 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 do. We have had some, last week and a half ago, we had some beautiful weather up in our area. And then spring turned to winter again. It's chilly and rainy. It's funny, some of our daffodils have come up and on one side of our property, and on the other ones haven't. I don't know why that is. Maybe they get more sun on one side, right? Mm-hmm. All right, you can see that is starting to thicken up. All right, that's going to continue to thicken. And we're coming up. It's getting nice and warm. And I'm going to turn it down a little to about medium so it doesn't burn on us. I'm going to add, we might as well go ahead and add all our spices in. Give that a stir. Ooh, that smells good. And let's add our cream cheese in. So that's 8 ounces or cup of cream cheese. 8 ounces, I should say it is, which is a cup, right? Let's get that stirred in. And this messy looking thing is going to turn beautiful as we go on here. It smells good. You can see our lumps are already almost all the way gone. And we can start to add our cheese in. And I'd add that in, about a third or each time. Get that in there and mix it around. And we'll add some more. Now, really, you could use this cheese sauce for just about anything. It would taste good on a piece of cardboard. And I'm going to add the rest of it in, and I'll let you guys go so you don't have to watch me go through this whole rigmarole. And we'll be back when everything is nicely mixed together. See you in a little bit. All right, guys, we're back. Wade even helped me stir a bit while I was getting some of that stuff away. I'm going to give it a quick taste, although I know it's delicious. Delicious. Now, again, when you taste something like that, if you tasted this, you'd think, oh, that's way too salty, or too much of your whatever you've seasoned it with. But you got to remember, this isn't the finished product. This is now going to go into the noodles. Everything's going to get mixed together. The noodles are going to absorb it, so that strong taste wouldn't be there. All right, I'm going to turn this off because that is beautiful. Don't you agree, honey? Yep. All right. And I'm going to dump my pasta back into the pan. Get out of there. We don't want to waste any of you. Get in the pool. Oh, speaking of pool, we went and got some pool supplies today. This will be our first spring, or when we open the pool, that we've had a pool. So we're really looking excited. So, a lot of people say, well, your pasta's going to stick together. Yeah, it's sticky, it's starchy. But that's going to not be like that. I'm going to get one more thing, be right back. once we mix our cheese in, that's all going to go together nicely. All right. And I'm just going to put it in one big swoop. And let's fold that all together. Look at that. Now, this is actually done. I mean, you could eat it just like this. It's a bit creamy because when we bake it, it is going to set a little bit. So, but there's no reason why you just couldn't grab a bowl and eat it like this. All right, see, look at that. No pasta sticking together in a lump. And we want to move it around so that we get that pasta is getting inside our hollow pasta. There's a few little black specks of pepper there. That's what that is. Probably can't even see it, but. Okay, so. All right, so the one I'm going to freeze. So we've got our lightly buttered bowl. Our casserole dish. So this is the dish I'm going to cook it in. And we'll fill up just about half of it. And I'll finish that later because we got other stuff to do. But so now at this point, I'd fill it to the point where I want it filled. And then I'm going to do nothing else with it. I'm going to let it come to room temperature. I'm going to cover it tightly. And I'm going to put it in the freezer. Now, we're not going to put our Ritz crackers topping on it because that would get soggy. But what I'll do is I'll take it out of the refrigerator about half an hour. Well, so I'll take it from the refrigerator. I'll put it into the refrigerator for overnight, and then I'll let it come to room temperature. And then I'll bake it the same way I would. I'd sprinkle my Ritz crackers on it. Oh, that's heavy. And then I'd bake it, like normal. Oh, that's heavy. Oh, that smells delicious. Now, if you didn't want to put a salty topping on it, like the Ritz crackers or chips or something, you could always just top it with a little bit more of the main cheese that you use. So then in this case, I used Sharp Cheddar, so I would sprinkle some more Sharp Cheddar and bake it like that. So this is the one we're going to freeze. This is the one we're going to eat. All right, so the next thing is, now I've got my two crackers in here, my 2 sleeves of crackers. It's probably going to be, for this, because these are a bit smaller, it might be, look like it's a little too much, but I'm going to also freeze whatever I don't use on that for that. So these you want to crack up, whatever consistency you like them. I like to leave, I don't like it like ground into little pieces, but those like that's a little too big for my taste. All right, and then we've got a half of cup of melted butter here. And I'll use this. And just want to get that in there. It's hardened up again a little bit. Oh, let's just get that all mixed in. like I said, I got some. Get over here. All right, I'm going in with my hands. It's going to be messy, but... So again, guys, our oven is preheated to 350. All right. Now, I like a generous sprinkling of this. The topping is one of my favorite parts. And of course, you do this the same way if you were using a 9x13 pan. And I think that's good. And then, like I said, I'm going to put the rest of this in a Ziploc bag and throw that in the freezer. All right, let me rinse my hand off. All right, so we're going to throw our mac and cheese in the oven for about 30 minutes, 350 for 30 minutes. And again, you're going to notice a change of your graham cracker or your Ritz crackers, and you're going to see, you know, this part's going to be all nice and bubbly. All right, let's get it in the oven so we can eat. Middle shelf in the oven. Okay, set a timer for 30 minutes.
Sure, 30 minutes.
So I'll check that at
now.
So I'll check that at 30 minutes, and if it's you know, if the Ritz are the color I want and it's bubbling, it'll be done. If not, I'll leave it in a few minutes later. But in any event, the next time we'll see you, we'll be taking our delicious mac and cheese out of the oven. See you then. All right, guys, it's been just about 30 minutes. I took a peek at it. It looks delicious to me. So again, our goal is to get that top crunchy, our Ritz golden brown and delicious. All right, you might not be able to really see, but we got a little bit of bubbles here and there. So that is done. And you can see up the top, we got some bubbling. All right, so now it's up to you. If you want to dive in, it's certainly ready. You can let it rest for a few minutes, so everything will congeal a little bit, but that's up to you. Anyway, we're going to eat, so we're going to dive into it shortly. See you in a bit. Well, guys, here we are. Getting ready to eat. Yay! All right, let's dig in before I tell a story.
Oh, another story.
You can see we got our one that's going to be frozen. I've covered that really well with saran wrap. I've put the cover on it. I've got the crackers all ready, so I'm going to throw that in the refrigerator, and or freezer, I should say. It'll be perfect for Thanksgiving.
It smells delicious.
Yeah.
That's good.
So that saltiness would be.
Yep, right.
Oh, that's delicious. I love how it gets all inside the noodle, and when you take a bite, kind of like bursts all that cheese. Now, story time. When I first met Wade a long time ago, he wouldn't even look at mac and cheese. Absolutely hated it. But,
Right, I wouldn't.
yep. Just because his mom lovingly would send him boxes of macaroni and cheese while he was in college, and even after
right.
He just got so sick and tired of eating macaroni and cheese. But granted, it was boxed macaroni and cheese, but he wouldn't even think about eating macaroni and cheese. And I think it was what my brother, who passed away a few years ago, God rest his soul, Michael. He used to love like the Kraft macaroni and cheese. I think maybe he I got something on me. I think he may have upgraded it to the Velveeta one years, but he would make that, and then he put a can of tuna in that. Didn't that kind of you liked? You started to like it then.
Yep.
That I came up with my own mac and cheese. But we don't eat this a lot. It's usually around the holidays, or if we're going to have a big crowd. But anyway, I think it's delicious.
I don't mind eating this mac and cheese. Yep.
All right.
Yep. Very good.
Cheers to mac and cheese.
Cheers.
You might be wondering why I'm burping because of that. All right, that's all I've got to say for now.
Guys, thanks for watching our videos. Please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Oh, before I say Tom, we met some new people today, Mark and Judith. So, guys, I'll know if you watched the whole video. Ciao.
Bye.